Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Hope you're all doing okay today, Thursday. And to remind you that we will have a live stream tomorrow on Friday at 2 p.m. Alaska time, 6 p.m. Eastern time. So hope to see you there, ladies and gentlemen. Now, before we get to what we want to talk about today here, I want to go ahead and cover something really quick. You see this, ladies and gentlemen? This is one of the videos that I put out yesterday, or the video that I put out yesterday. And this is not clickbait. In case you're new to this channel, let me explain something to you. If I put something up, it's because I either believe it, because I've done enough research myself to convince me that this is true, or I'm putting out some information that I found in the news that I feel is relevant to being prepared. Now, this may be a harsh truth to consider, but it is true. I could have probably named this a little different. I put here, if you're on Social Security or a fixed income, you're doomed. But maybe I should have put, if you rely solely on Social Security or a fixed income, you're doomed. And you know why I put that there, ladies and gentlemen? Because it's true. Right? It is true. And I am included in that. Right? I rely mainly, all right, because I do earn income from YouTube, but we'll get to that here in a second, all right, on that part. I rely mainly on my fixed income, on my retirement that comes from the government. And eventually, as time goes on and the government continues to inflate the monetary supply, as the years go by, the more that I am doomed. And as for YouTube goes, ladies and gentlemen, I personally believe that YouTube channels will be gone. That prepper channels on YouTube will start to fade away unless they want to change their narrative. All right, ladies and gentlemen? So this, in my opinion, is true. If you rely on Social Security or a fixed income and you don't have any investments where you're making X percentages a year on whatever money you may have saved up over your life, which I personally don't agree with. I don't agree with putting my money in the stock market. Why? Because I believe it's very corrupt. It is extremely corrupt. And the day that the government wants to take it all away from you and give it to someone else, they will crash the market. If you don't think that the government controls the market, then you really need to get a wake-up pill. You know, take a wake-up pill. Drink some orange juice, whatever. But that's what I believe. So that is what I put. So anyone that has a problem with looking at this and saying, man, I'm on a fixed income, I'm doomed. And trust me, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not saying this to berate anyone. I'm not here to judge you. I am in the same place. I am on a fixed income from the government. And eventually, my income will be worthless. Eventually, the income that I get from the government will be worthless. So wake up. That's what we're trying to do here. Wake up and understand that you need to be prepared so you can have more options when things like this do happen. It happens all the time. It's happening right now in Russia where people are waking up and their bank accounts are still the same amount of money that there was there yesterday, but the money is worth 10 times less. Why in the world could it not happen in the almighty United States? Are we that avert to these things happening? Have you not seen the market crash before? Have you not seen people lose everything before? We all know people that lost everything during 2008. We all know people that lost everything in the last 2 years because of policies passed by this or that administration. It doesn't matter. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so wake up and grow up. If you're not preparing for the day where you will lose all of your paper wealth, then you're not preparing. That is why I'm such an advocate of be prepared. Get stuff that you need. I mean, I get it from both sides. You buy too much stuff, AP. Oh, how can we be doomed? The government will take care of us. Well, you know what? One day you'll find out. One day you're going to really find out if the government takes care of you. All right? You're going to find that out one day. And you know what? I hope that you're prepared. Because you're going to come to a very rude awakening if you think that the government is going to take care of you. Okay, enough of a rant. Let's get to today's video because it's very important. So ladies and gentlemen, I've been sounding the alarm, I don't know, for a couple of weeks now. Fertilizer, fertilizer, fertilizer. And here we go again. I'm going to continue to bring this up because I believe that this is a much bigger problem than what people are giving it credit for. Right? You're not hearing this all over the news. I'm pretty sure. If you are, let me know because I don't watch the mainstream media. But here I am assuming, and I would love to know. Leave it in the comments. You're not hearing this all over the news. We're going to have a fertilizer problem. And that fertilizer problem is going to cause food shortages around the world. And it's not me saying it. It's not David Dubine saying it. It's actual CEOs of agriculture, CEOs of companies that are going out there saying this. So if you don't want to listen to crazy guys like me or crazy guys like David Dubine or the Ice Age Farmer who have been following this stuff for years, a heck of a lot longer than me, if you don't want to listen to us crazy guys, then don't. Listen to a CEO. All right. I showed you all a clip here a while back, and I even replayed that clip on a video, I don't know, a month ago, of a U.S. congressman saying we are going to have a food shortage. And then they cut him off. Why? Because governments don't want their publics to know when bad times are coming. They like to tell you when they are already here. Why? Because do you not think that governments all around the world are prepping right now? If not already are prepped up for a very long time. Trust me when I say this, ladies and gentlemen. Those bunkers that the governments have, they're not for you and they're not for me. My bunker is my food, it's my preps, it's the skills that I have, the minimal amount of skills that I have. That's my bunker. That's my shield against what's coming. There are some things that we will not be able to control. I'll bring this up again. Someone sent me an email or left a comment saying, you do know that Russia has a missile pointed at Alaska. Okay, it does. And if that happens, what in the world can I do about it? But I can do something about this right here. I can do something about this. I can do something about the food shortage that is coming, ladies and gentlemen. And it's not going to be just a food shortage. It is going to be suffering worldwide and at the hands of what? The hands of the policymakers. Everything that's going on right now with fertilizer is at the hands of the policymakers. It's due to the policies that have been passed. And this thing about Ukraine, everything is being blamed on Ukraine. Everything is being blamed on Russia, going to Ukraine and all that. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you what. If I did a video on this, it would probably be hours long. But I implore you, go do your own research on Russia and Ukraine. And don't do it for the last 2 years. Do it for the last 50, 60, 70 years. So that you can really understand what's going on. All right? And then go do your research. Real research. Not one-sided. Not just things that you want to find out about. All right? But the truths that are uncomfortable. Go do your research about the actions of the government of these United States. Or of the United States. Because this government is not for these United States. It's for the United States. And if you don't know the difference, do your research on that as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there is going to be a major food crisis coming down the line. And in my opinion, it is going to be used as a tool to control you. So do you want to keep your sovereignty or not? Do you want to be free or not? The thing is, ladies and gentlemen, is that some people don't want to be free. And that's the truth. Some people do not want to be free. Being free is not an easy life. Having to actually live with the consequences of your decision and not having anyone there to bail you out, it's not an easy life for some. But I believe that most would rather be free, but some people don't. There is no question in our minds that a global food crisis is emerging. The last example is Russia's freeze on fertilizer exports. which will complicate agricultural production in Brazil. Not only in Brazil, but pretty much every country that they export to. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this thing that's going on now with sanctions, you think that it's really hurting Russia? All of these sanctions that are being passed, do you really believe that it is hurting Russia? Maybe monetarily, but their people aren't starving, and their people won't starve. They have everything they need, ladies and gentlemen. These sanctions are going to end up hurting the entire world. All right, ladies and gentlemen, sanctions are only a tool used by governments on other governments where the collateral damage or the only damage is to the people. The only damage is to the people. Think about that. Think about that. So if sanctions are damaging only to the people, then why do we do sanctions when it's supposed to be hurting governments? Man, I'll tell you what, we are in a bad way. And that's why we prepare. And I've been saying for the last couple of years at least, that this bad way that we are in, that's going to extend all the way through the end of this decade and then some, before things maybe start to stabilize. So if you're not preparing now, if you're not listening to the hundreds and probably more than thousands of warnings that you've been hearing on social media, be it YouTube or be it anywhere else, if you're not listening, in all honesty, you really will have no one else to blame but yourselves. But the question is your family going to have to suffer because of your ignorance? And I know I'm being a little bit harsh on this video, but I have to tell you what, people need to wake up. You all need to wake up. Things are not what they seem. All right? When you look at what's going on, and this Ukraine thing is really bugging me. When you look at what's going on in Ukraine, and when you look at that the media is now doing the same thing they've always done, ladies and gentlemen, giving you propaganda so that they can thought shape your thoughts. That is what they're doing. Fertilizer costs before Russia invaded Ukraine were already high. And we reported on that. They were already high. On some fertilizers, they had already gone up 10 times, ladies and gentlemen. So this here, Russia being one of the largest exporters of fertilizer in the world, is only going to exacerbate the problem that was already there before these sanctions took place. The invasion made everything worse. Moscow's protectionism has crimped exports of the nutrients critical for growing all sorts of farm goods. No other nation in the world relies more on foreign fertilizer than Brazil. According to Bloomberg, the South American country imports more than 85% of its fertilizer demand. Russia is its top supplier, and Belarus provides 28% of the total. So Belarus and Russia provide Brazil with pretty much all of the fertilizer that it uses. And you know how much stuff comes out of Brazil? Restraining fertilizer consumption may hurt crop yields, and of course it will. I don't know why they put those words, they may. We live in a world where we have diminished the nutrition in our soils through large agriculture, right, and factory farming, and the soil is not what it used to be, and we need that fertilizer in order to grow crops. It's one of the things that worries me about the United States, is that we don't make a lot of fertilizer, and we need a lot of fertilizer. So where's it going to come from? And if it does come from somewhere, and we buy it from somewhere, do you think we're going to be buying it at the same price that we were buying it for a year ago, or even a month ago, ladies and gentlemen? And here, the agriculture minister of Brazil says that restraining fertilizer consumption may hurt crop yields, boost inflation, and threaten food security. Like I said, change the word may to will. For some context, Brazil has transformed into an agricultural powerhouse over the last 2 decades. And it has. I believe that they're almost all away from oil or biofuels. I think that they run a lot of their electricity, believe it or not, on on wastes, like organic waste that they get from farming and stuff like that. I remember seeing something on that a while ago. I'll go ahead and leave it in the comment if you know exactly how it is. But I think that Brazil would be one of the few countries in the world where if oil stopped today, like if the end of oil was today and it was zero, that it would still be able to operate. It has become the leading exporter of coffee, sugar, soybeans, manioc, rice, corn, cotton, edible beans, and wheat. The bigger problem is how the fertilizer disruption and soaring prices may result in future harvest declines. Dwindling food supplies in Brazil may only act as an inflationary pressure for global food prices, possibly rocketing prices to new heights. And ladies and gentlemen, I did a video a while back that said that we are being priced out of the food market. And this is just another nail in that coffin. At first, there will not be a food shortage, but the food shortage will exist because of the economy, because people will not be able to afford that food. I'm going to bring this up one more time, okay? I know I mentioned this a couple of times, but I was talking to Billy from Frontier Preppers. I was talking to him yesterday. I went ahead and visited. We had a little cafecito. And we were talking about shops in Cuba. And I asked him about like Cuban supermarkets. And he says, well, you know what? There are Cuban supermarkets where you go in and they're really nice. They're really nice. They even have air conditioning. He says most people walk in there just to experience what air conditioning is like. And he said, and the shelves are all full. He says the shelves have everything in them, but people can't afford to buy it. So you only see one or two people in a big supermarket that's full of everything because the average person cannot afford to buy it. Same thing in Venezuela. Talked about that before. But I'd never heard that about Cuba until I talked to Billy about it here yesterday, actually. So ladies and gentlemen, eventually you will be priced out of the food market for whatever the reason is. You can sit here and blame Russia. You can sit here and blame the government, whatever. That's all fine. But are you preparing for the consequences of the decisions that these governments make on our behalf? Are you preparing for those consequences? Because you can sit there and blame anyone you want, but in the end, it will be you and your family that suffer if you didn't take the time to prepare right now. He says that one of the victims of the crisis will be agriculture and food. He said that adding that the conflict has already led to soaring prices in fertilizers, which are no longer affordable to farmers. Ladies and gentlemen, if fertilizers are no longer affordable to farmers, who's going to farm? That right there, in my opinion, that line is probably the most important line to this entire article that I read. Well, I know who's going to be able to afford them, and it's going to be an even bigger monopolization of the big ag that already exists that wants us to live on crickets and cockroaches. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so prep up now. I hope that you have a great day. We will talk to you tomorrow, 2 p.m. Alaska time, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Have a great day, ladies and gentlemen. God bless you all. Remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place, and you know that it will be a better place. Many blessings to all of you and your families. I'm Alaska Prepper. I am out.